So, my friends, let's dive right into the frontline review, starting with the direction from Kherson, where, according to Putin's statement, a counteroffensive by the Ukrainian Armed Forces began and immediately it failed. The latest information indicates that several reconnaissance and sabotage units from the Ukrainian Armed Forces entered the two populated areas, Pyshanivka and Poyma. Some WA correspondents claim that these settlements are under the Ukrainian Armed Forces control, while others report that after completing their mission, the Ukrainian Armed Forces simply returned to their previous positions without strengthening their front lines. Therefore, we are eagerly waiting for more precise information. For now, it's clear that the Russians are shelling Pyshanivka, suggesting that presence or past presence of our troops in that area. So the occupants also shelled the area near Prydnestrovsk, from where there might have been the redeployment of our units. As usual, there has been an increase in shelling of the frontline villages almost all along the front line. This appears to be the Russians' response to the Ukrainian Armed Forces advances on the left bank. Yesterday evening, there were reports of explosions in Mykolaiv, and shelling continues in the Charkiv area from the Kinburg-Spit. At 8:30, the enemy struck the settlement of the Stepivska community, resulting in the death of a woman. Rescuers managed to extricate her from the rubble of a destroyed building, and there is a possibility that another person is still trapped under mud. Additionally, there is information about one person being wounded due to the shelling. Residential buildings and agricultural enterprises have been damaged. Okay, before we continue, I kindly ask you to share this video on social media and watch to the end. It greatly helps promote my channel. So, thank you. In the Zaporizhia direction, the situation is developing quite interestingly. The occupiers failed to break through in the Robotyne area, so they changed their attack direction yesterday evening, and they are now advancing in the vicinity of the river not far from Bilohiria. This settlement was liberated early in the counteroffensive. Overall, the Russians continue to do everything they can to obstruct the Ukrainian counteroffensive. However, our units haven't yet launched significant offensive operations, and the front line remains unchanged. In the Vuhledar direction, the Russians suffered further losses during attacks in the Zolota Niva area, causing them to halt their offensive operations. In the Pyshanivka area, they managed to stop, and today there are combat clashes in the Novomajorsk area. So it seems that the occupiers had to retreat under the pressure of our forces. Unfortunately, the number of shelling incidents hasn't decreased, and the occupiers are conducting shelling all along the front line, trying to inflict maximum damage to our troops. In the Avdiivka direction, it seems the occupiers are wrapping up their attacks from yesterday, as all of them were unsuccessful, resulting in additional losses for the occupiers. Today, they have shifted their attack direction again, attempting to break through the fields near Avdiivka from two sides. It appears that the Ukrainian Armed Forces are conducting counterattacks quite successfully. In addition to shelling along the front line, the occupiers have shelled the towns of Opytne and Kamianka, which are within the red zone. This indicates that the Ukrainian Armed Forces are showing activity. As always, the occupiers are trying to decide everything with artillery strikes, but over the past day the front line remains unchanged. Battles are ongoing in Makiivka, and there is a high number of shelling incidents. The attempts by the occupiers to break through to Novomajorsk continue, and they enter the outskirts where they face resistance. In the Bakhmut direction, the situation is quite interesting. The occupiers are shelling the front line and then making serious attempts to break through to Klyshchivka. Fierce battles are taking place in the fields near the village. The General Staff announced last evening that the occupiers shelled Odradivka, which is located nearly 4 kilometers from the furthest front line. Whether this means that our forces have reached there is hard to say at this point, and we are waiting to see how the events unfold. Perhaps these are reconnaissance groups making a breakthrough, but the village and the road itself should become the next line of defense for the Russians. For now, they are trying to hold near the railway, but further on through the fields they will have to withdraw the road, which is already under the fire control of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. In the Siversk direction, the occupiers shelled Bilohorivka and Spirne, but there is no significant activity there. But here is another interesting puzzle from the General Staff. In the area of Kremenna, there was a report of an artillery shelling of Kremenna in the evening summary. So, it appears that reconnaissance and sabotage groups from the Ukrainian side have become active in this area as well. Occupiers are also intensely shelling the area near the village of Nevsky, where they haven't achieved success in advancing, and once again there have been offensive actions towards Makiivka. They took a one-day break for regrouping and then launched an attack again. In the Svatove direction, there are battles in the direction of the village of Nadiia, but as before, the Russians haven't achieved success and the front line remains unchanged. In the Kupiansk direction, shelling continues along the entire front line, along with offensive actions towards Senkivka and Ivanivka. It is reported that there have been more than 15 attacks in the past day, but they haven't achieved success and the front line remains unchanged. Today, there is an increased pressure in this area of the front, but the Ukrainian Armed Forces are successfully holding their defense. Meanwhile, there is renewed activity in Crimea. It has been reported that explosions were heard near Sevastopol last night. There are no details available at the moment, but photos with smoke have already been published, indicating that another military target of the Russians has been destroyed. Additionally, according to Putin, the Russian Air Force will begin patrolling the neutral zone in the Black Sea.
Хочу сказать, это не угроза, то, что я сейчас скажу и о чем вас проинформирую, но по моему поручению военно-воздушные силы, военно-космические силы России начинают на постоянной основе патрулирование в нейтральной зоне воздушного пространства над Черным морем. Я предупредил, что это не угроза, но мы будем осуществлять визуальный контроль с помощью оружия за тем, что происходит в Средиземном море. Спасибо большое. Всего доброго.
There are also satellite images of the airfields in Lugansk and Berdyansk where ATACMS missiles arrived. The photos from October 18th show significant damage. Special Operations Forces claim to have destroyed 9 helicopters, while the General Staff reported 6 in their morning briefing. But meanwhile, the conflict between Israel and Hamas is escalating. Supporters of Hamas stormed the US Capitol building. They have initiated a protest within the Capitol, and law enforcement is currently attempting to apprehend their participants.
And let's go straight to Gabe Cohen on Capitol Hill, where a protest is underway. Gabe?
Yeah, so Brianna, right now we're in the Cannon House office building right across from the Capitol, and you can see just over from where I'm standing a huge crowd of protesters, organizers from a couple different Jewish American organizations who are here occupying the rotunda in this building, calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. This comes just a few minutes after they were holding a rally on National Mall, but as you can see right in front of us right now, someone is being arrested. We have seen a lot of people being zip-tied and led away after being told that this was a sealed space, that they could not be here. In fact, we were standing about 5 feet that way just a couple minutes ago, and I was told by a police officer, move or you will be arrested. And that's exactly what's happening to the people here. And look, these are the same organizers, the same groups who were outside the White House on Monday. 30-plus people arrested outside the White House who were blocking entrances. There was a huge crowd there on Monday, and now we're seeing the same thing today. They again are calling for an end to the war, the fighting, the bombings in Gaza. They have put a lot of the blame, listening to the speakers here over the last couple hours that were at that rally just down the National Mall. They put the blame really squarely at the foot of Israel and the IDF. And now, again, we are watching as Capitol Police are arresting people one by one who are seated in this area, who are being told they need to leave now, and yet they are willing, in this case, to be zip-tied and to be led away. Guys?
Gabe, can you have your photographer pan up a little just to the, I mean, are they in the upper part of the rotunda there as well, or are they just there on the main floor part?
And that's all from me. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.